Welcome back to another edition of the Stacked Supplement Podcast. We run down all of the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. We're going to jump right into it with news from Clash of the Cans. We set an official date for when that is happening. We are looking at June 16th, so Monday, June 16th. So it's about 2 weeks from this coming Monday. We're recording this a little bit late, but there's neither here nor there. But yeah, it'll be happening in 2 weeks from Monday. We've got a lot lined up for this. So as I previously confirmed, we are going to be adding different voting options. This is where you'll be able to vote on a poll for the quarterfinals, semifinals, and grand final on Instagram, as well as Instagram stories. Stories being short-lived things. Those stories will be only up once, but we will count those as well alongside any votes that go through clashofthecans.com, where everyone usually gets them in, and then the story they'll have a poll alongside it, and that will be up the whole week. But again, that won't necessarily be the final one. It's probably a good indicator if there's a huge lead, but it's not the final say. In addition to that, the Clash of the Cans is once again brought to you by Dynamine, powered by Dynamine, the potent and just perfectly suited stimulant for any drinks, as well as pre-workouts and other supplements, including nootropics. In addition to the voting alternate, we still have the same lineup, same style. So the first round is going to be an all-out vote where I think there should be around 200 drinks to choose from, and you get to submit your votes. And pretty much, I think it's one in the first round, so one out of whatever drinks there are. And then instead of the top 16, usually we do the 16 and we have 4 groups of 4. This year we're taking the top 24 just because it's obviously a bigger number. And then we're going to be voting on, there'll be 6 groups of 4, and then that'll come down to 2 groups of 3 for the semifinals. We're also going to be running some pretty sweet competitions. We really wanted to spice things up this year. So we're going to be giving away one of these. This is the custom can. It's a replica of a 16-ounce can that we had made. It's 4 or 5 pounds. It's pretty damn heavy. And so we had this. This goes to the winner usually, and it will go to the winner again. It comes with a base with the Clash of the Cans and a year engraved on it. But in addition to that, we have another one being made, and we're going to give that away to one lucky voter. It'll be tracked via social, because obviously with the website we can't maintain all votes. It's pretty, it's not pretty, it's random. So this will be run through there. So we'll pick someone at the end at random. In addition to that, I haven't confirmed yet, but we are giving away an energy drink fridge. I don't know if that's until round 2 or 3, but we'll wait and see. Either way, all of that and more coming in the Dynamine-powered Clash of the Cans for 2025. We look forward to seeing who takes this one out. We don't have a huge amount of stories to share this week, but big ones, but important ones. We have not as many, but still high quality, important ones. We're going to start with news from First Form. Now, they put up a teaser not that long ago, like a week ago, about it was sneak peeks of a drink. And to be honest, at first it looked like it was different drinks. It looked like we might be getting 2 separate things. And this follows the partnership that they announced a few months ago, where they're getting together with Anheuser-Busch, the same company that Ghost partnered with when it originally launched the Ghost energy drink. And then in addition to that, there was an infusion of Dana White. I don't really remember how he was in there. I just know he was in there for promotional purposes or something. Either way, he was in there. He was part of this sort of massive collaboration, but all they said was that they were going to be innovating in the beverage space. Now, that's all well and good, but it don't really mean shit. So we didn't really know what to think. A lot of big words get thrown around in this industry, and sometimes, if not most of the time, it doesn't end up being much of anything. But obviously this was quite a big partnership, and it involved the 3. So even though they were talking loud, something was going to come from it, and I think this is what it is. And so this past week, we've got a full reveal of what exactly they were teasing. And it's, to be honest, it kind of just feels like a revamped version of the First Form energy drink. It's now called Form Energy, so it's dropped the first, just Form Energy. And on the outside, it looks very much the same. 16 ounces, 200 milligrams of caffeine from green tea, natural caffeine. It says there's an infusion of nootropics. Now, the original one, if I'm not mistaken, had neurofactor. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that's now in there. Obviously, the name has changed. It's Cognitique, as they call it. And then they've still got the clean nutrition. I think it was 0 calories. No sugar, no calories. Yeah, 0 sugar. So I don't know if it's absolutely 0 calories, but no sugar. And it just feels like the original. Now, obviously, they've changed the name, changed the look. They have changed the flavors a bit. They are somewhat similar to previous ones. There was Grape Smash, Orange Fury, Blue Blitz, and Screamin' Freedom, which is the cherry lemon and blueberry flavor that is already available or was already available for the original First Form energy drink. But now again, I don't know. It seems like it's a very much a refresh. It doesn't seem like it's a refined version or a drastically altered formula. But I suspect if they have built it up this long and they're hyping the relaunch or the launch of Form Energy with similarities to First Form Energy Drink, I would have to assume that this is going to be a vastly improved version or a much better version with the help of Anheuser-Busch, obviously. And then their experience they bring to the table is a lot. But then also they have just, I imagine they are much better when it comes, or much more experienced when it comes to refining, taste, and production. And so I suspect that this is going to taste vastly better. Not that the original wasn't bad, but so it's a lot of suspicion until you try it. Obviously, if it was very different on the outside, it was 12 ounce, maybe it was a 19 ounces, more nootropics, less caffeine, whatever, but it pretty much on paper looks very much the same. So in terms of benefits, you're not going to be in much difference. It'll come down to taste, I suspect, and then with Anheuser-Busch in the mix, availability is likely to be drastically stronger than the original First Form energy drink. Keeping on that realm, we're going to go over to the team at Body Armor. Now they announced a fresh new flavor innovation or flavor series, and this is something we've been seeing more and more of over the past few years. Sort of when Prime started bursting out into the scene, and even Ghost to some extent with energy drinks, different category, same format, but very similar in the sense that they started really pushing flavor innovation, and several other companies have done that since. And it just seems to keep things exciting. When I was just in Japan, they were saying very much the same. They like to keep releasing flavors, not just because they have some creative ideas and offering something different can often bring in new consumers. They're saying that the competition was doing it as well. And so if you're doing more innovation than anyone else, I guess it does draw in attention to you that could otherwise be taken to someone else. It's obviously a lot of focus on the same one. But yeah, so this has kind of encouraged legacy names like Body Armor to get a bit spicy, get creative, and they've just done that with the all-new Body Armor Chill series. Now, I wasn't able to find out what the hell this is, to be honest. It says it has what do they describe it as? I'm trying to remember they used some exact words. It was like the perfect chill. I can't remember the exact, it was, semantics, but impossibly cold and a chilling effect. And so I don't know what that means. That could mean that immediately I thought maybe it's going to have that menthol feel, that kind of, we get my mouthwash that we had with Anabolic Halo from Muscle Tech, and even Applied. They did it back with their, I can't remember what it was called. They had a series, they still do, I think, Breathe Easy. And that adds like a chilling effect that goes down your throat. So it kind of gives you this sensation. I thought that might be this with the Body Armor Chill series, but I couldn't find anything. I even asked them, sent them a message, didn't hear a nada. So I'm assuming there is something with the experience when you drink it. Must feel different, but I don't know that for sure. So because on paper, it's the same formula you get in its regular Body Armor sports drink. 31 grams of carbohydrates, all of that sugar, 990 milligrams of electrolytes in total. And then there are 3 flavors, all of which are chill themed. You've got frozen berry, frozen cherry, and frozen orange. So yeah, not sure what we're going to get from any of this, how different they will be or anything like that, but inherently that is what this series consists of, and they're out now. And there will also be a chill variety pack in Sam's Club, which gives you the chance to try all of them in one. I think it was an 18 pack with 6 of each. So save money, try them all rather than buying a case of a single one. Next up, we're going to jump to Upfront. Now this story was more of an interesting one in passing. It's not a huge innovation development, but we often visit a lot of different countries around the world, and I always take the time to visit brands, get to know brands, and it is find out who's doing well on the market and whatnot. And you stumble across giants, very similar to Olymp, when you might not think much about them, but then you hear that they do better than 95% of companies in America in terms of total revenue. in a small country like Poland, not small in the grand scheme of things, but small compared to major markets like the US, Canada, even the UK to some extent. And it just surprises you. ESN's another one. What is it like? The quality group was 700, 800 million last year or something. It's combined of the brands under that umbrella, but ESN and More Nutrition are the main drivers. And it's insane when you hear these numbers that you don't even get a sniff of in the US. It goes to show you how big these things are. Now, up front is another brand that's dominated out in Europe, specifically the Netherlands, and they shared something that I just thought was well worth passing on, and was the fact that they do 41,000 orders in a single day. Again, if you're a brand or if you're a consumer, like consumers may not notice it that much, but as a brand, to know and I thought it was just a fascinating thing to know that a company could do 41,000 orders in a single day. Now, given that they did a sale, so people might have been holding off or saving up, and maybe that might have been the one order a month or the one day a month that just outshined everything. But to do that, to be able to draw that, you still have to draw that many people in. You still have to have that many people there. That is a huge amount to do in one day. And again, this is a country of 17 million people. And we even mathed it out. If you were spending 50 euros maybe per order, I personally probably closer to 50, 100 if we're talking euros, which is close to the US dollar. That's 2 million euros, just over 2 and 3 in a day, 24 hours. That's not to say they didn't taper off into the next day, but that's some huge numbers from a company in a country that's, like I said, Germany and Poland, but that's an even smaller country. So it's amazing to see leaders and dominators like that and just kind of get a glimpse of how well one can do in these countries. And oftentimes brands don't necessarily think it's worth the effort in some of these places, purely because you just look at it and think, we do this and this in the US and Canada. You might not think that's even worth the try, but then you see something like this and think, oh damn, if I can get a piece of that too. So you get a glimpse at kind of numbers like this, and I just thought this was something well worth sharing. We're going to close out with 2 stories. The second to last one is indeed another story from the energy drink space, and this was actually one we talked about last week when RYSE said it would be doing another energy drink, and they mentioned it was going to be 12 ounces and that it was going to have a differentiating point from the regular RYSE fuel energy drink. We didn't necessarily get told what it was, but lo and behold, a few days later, they let loose. Now, I did not see this coming. Personally, I've never seen reason to put these two together. Like personally, obviously everyone's different, but I've never had a use case where I thought, yeah, I'd love these two together. So yeah, so the 12-ounce energy drink that'll be called RYSE energy drink, not RYSE fuel. It's going to be an infusion of protein and caffeine. Now, they did say that they were the first to do, and I mean, they said this about the collab, I can't remember which one it was, where they said you don't know the flavor. I think it was the roulette one, you didn't know the flavor, it wasn't on the label type thing. And I was like, I like that people put effort in to be different and creative. That wasn't the first time we'd seen that. Again, Apply did that, where they had a mystery flavor and there were 6 different ones inside, maybe even more. But not the first. Roulette, they partner with a candy, not the first person to partner with a candy and do specifically that, but in the broad scheme of the idea of not knowing what's in it and it be a mystery one of 2 flavors, that had been done, and this has been done, protein and energy drink. I do know that they were commenting saying no one's done like a splash of protein or like a hint of protein, which is not entirely true. We listed a few examples on the site. There's one with like 150 milligrams of caffeine and 200 milligrams of caffeine and 10 grams of protein, maybe even less. There's a lot out there. I think we've rattled them off. Yeah, 10 grams of protein. Voom was a good one. Mammut's Flexergy in Europe, Lohilo in Sweden's done one. And then obviously you've Clean and Simple Eats Clear Protein Plus Energy, which is I mean, you could say it's an energy drink with protein, clear protein with energy, whatever. So RYSE's will be much that concept. It will be an energy drink first and foremost with added protein. Again, like the Clean and Simple Eats one, whichever way you want to describe it, this could be a moderate protein drink with caffeine. So yeah, the RYSE energy drink. The caffeine, I believe, is going to be at 150, and then the protein will be at 8 grams. So it's not a huge amount. But the interesting thing is, and people pointed this out in the comments, they were saying that, well, what's the point of 8 grams of protein? And it is a very small amount. It's a very odd amount. Like 10, half of 20, 20, a little bit less than 25. 8, it's an interesting number. But they were saying that it's not going to cost anything more than an energy drink. So it's going to be within the same realm as its competitors, just you get extra protein. Now I'd be interested to see what that looks like, because again, if it's just caffeine and nothing else and then the protein, then some might say you have sacrificed the complexity of having added nootropics or other benefits for the protein and paying for it that way. Because the RYSE Fuel does have a pretty robust formula. It's not just about energy, it's got quite a few other things in it to help give a rather comprehensive experience. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Many brands have done this, again, whichever we want to say it, energy with protein, protein with energy. Many brands have done those two in one functional drink. Muscle Monster did it with Muscle Monster. They did it twice. They had two versions of that a can and then it was a bottle. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But most importantly, it'll be interesting to see what it offers and then how much it costs. RYSE knows how to deliver. So while I have my references and curiosity, I'm almost certain they're going to knock it out of the park, and it's going to be something that will likely do well. They don't usually drop something and never touch it again. And so stay tuned for more details on that, but you can pretty much find out everything. It's on the site. They've got the flavors confirmed, 6 in total, 0 sugar for all of them. 3 of them will be collabs and 3 standards. The last story we have is the one, I think it's the one right behind us. And Legendary Foods. They announced their next functional creation, and it caused quite a bit of attention. Legendary Foods is easily one of the most intricate, advanced, creative, functional competitors out there. It doesn't release products often. That's very clear. But it does. When it does, they aren't your standard bar. It doesn't make a bar. And it does make chips, which is a somewhat common format, but they aren't your regular doughy, sometimes dry chips. They're damn good, super good. And they've almost never faltered on this whole theme. They've always done something different, bought something new. And now we have Protein Donuts, and I suspect that these are going to be as good as their pastry and sweet roll. Sweet roll is a great example of what this is likely to be. Sweet roll, my big question was, how are you going to deliver like that softness of a bun? So difficult when you're trying to work with as much protein as they do, as well as like no sugar, no net carbs, and low calories. And they do it. If you've had sweet roll, it's an unbelievable attempt. And a lot of people will say, it doesn't taste like a bun. Sure as fuck not going to taste like a bun. Sure as shit, it's never going to taste exactly like a bun. It's a protein snack. You're not going to get that without the things that are in there. But damn, do they get close with some of the most impressive macros. You will see the macros of their products are usually better than a bar, which again, either way, what we've got here is the Legendary Protein Donut, and it will be following that mantra of high protein, low net carbs, 20 grams of protein all up. I believe the numbers revealed were, so it's 20 grams of protein in total. There'll be 2 donuts per pack. They weigh from 60 to 65, I think, per pack. So 32 grams a piece, 10 grams in each, 24 total. And then the net carbohydrate count is 4 to 5, 6 grams of fat. And then they fall well below that 200 calorie mark at 160. And just to give you a point of reference, the best protein bar out there, Bear Bell's bar, that's 20 grams of protein, around 200 calories. Grenades, 20 protein, sometimes a little bit more, just over 200, around 200 to 220 calories. So this far exceeds that, but it is a donut. And so if you know the sweet roll, you'll know they'll be able to hit that smooth, soft bun, and then they'll knock it off with the sweet topping, which you get with the protein pastry. They do a damn good job of that, not to mention the filling inside, but the glaze across the top. So this one's launching in 4 flavors. There's chocolate, pink sprinkle, which has rainbow sprinkles on the top, glazed vanilla, and then cinnamon, which will have cinnamon crumble across the top. They look damn delicious. They'll be out soon, I believe coming weeks at the very least. And I expect nothing but good things from them. Again, if I go to a storefront and I'm looking for a bar and I see a Legendary Foods, I'm almost always going to grab that. Now, given this because I don't see them a lot, but at the same time, when presented with the option that like, hey, I want protein with as convenient as I can, Legendary Foods gives you that ability to pick something that might not be a dry, doughy bar. And so they're and incredibly reliable, and they just do a damn good job. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these turn out. But for this episode, that is it. We're going to wrap up there. Thank you for listening. As always, all we ask for you to support, go to the website multiple times a day, check it out, join the rewards program, join the email list, send it to your mom, your dad, brother, sister, daughter, son, grandma, grandpa, whoever wants to find out about the latest in the supplement game, functional food and energy drinks. But for this episode, that is it. Thank you for listening and look forward to having you back next time.